Last month, Rory McIlroy won the 2025 Masters Tournament, cementing him as the 6th golfer in history to achieve a career Grand Slam, one of the highest accomplishments in the world of professional golf. It's a testament to his skill and perseverance, and it should, and has, been celebrated far and wide. But today, I'm taking him on. McIlroy scored 12 under par over 72 holes at the Masters this year, and I'm gonna attempt to beat that score. But not with actual golf. I am far too much of a never played a round of golf in his life guy to take on Rory frickin' McIlroy. No, I am challenging him in the time-honored sport of Mario Golf. Because I'm going for the Mario Golf Grand Slam. 4 tournaments, 4 Mario Golf games, 4 videos, 4 attempts to beat championship golfers. Strap in everyone, this is gonna be fun. Here's how this is gonna go down. I'll play through 4 courses in Mario Golf Super Rush, these 4 specifically since they're the hardest 72 par courses in the game, and try to beat McIlroy's score across these courses. That means a 13 under par or better. And yes, I know the Masters takes place on the same course over 4 rounds, I just wanted the variety, alright? It's more interesting that way. I'm adding some extra stipulations to make it more difficult. No special shots, standard clubs only, winds set at strongest, and the tees as far back as the course allows. For this game, I'm playing as King Bob-omb because he's got the farthest drive, which will be important for a specific hole, but is also a generally good advantage on most courses. Oh, and if I don't get a low enough score in one set, I gotta start from the very beginning. Let's get golfing. Bowser Highlands has some nasty lava pits and very long fairways, which makes it quite an interesting place to start. Hole 1 is nice and straightforward, literally, since the pin is directly in front of you. My first shot was right up the middle, but the wind carried my second shot too far to the right, putting me just on the rough. But with a nice chip in for birdie, that's 1 hole down. On hole 2, I accidentally went for topspin rather than backspin, so my ball went sliding off the green, so I wedged it back on to set up an 8-foot putt, netting me a par. Hole 3 is a long par 5, but the wind was in my favor to get to the green in 3 strokes with a nice 10-foot putt, which I unfortunately biffed. Still, that's another par. I landed short off the tee on hole 4, and once again the wind pushed me away from the green, but the rough thankfully stopped my ball before it entered the lava. With a third pitch shot that just barely missed the hole, I tapped it in for another par. Hole 5 began with 2 excellent shots that got me to the bumpy, uneven green, a staple of Bowser Highlands that makes it pretty ridiculous for long putting. It was close, but I sunk the 12-foot putt for birdie. The drive on hole 6 carried me onto the far green 43 feet away, and I had too much power on the putt to sink it in 2, but I took the par. Thanks to the fast fairway on hole 7, my ball traveled damn far on the tee off, but even with super backspin, my second shot rolled more than I wanted to for a 28-foot putt. But I sank it for birdie, putting me at 3 under before the front 9 was done. Hole 8 begins with another straight drive, and while it was a bit powerful, the second shot gave me a solid line for another birdie putt at about 20 feet. But I aimed too far left, so I had to settle for par. Hole 9 presents an interesting challenge. It's a par 5, but an eagle putt opportunity is there if you take a risky bounce shot off the rock, but I was aiming downwind, so I decided to go for it. I drove to the right fairway and took my chances with a second driver shot, which cleared the lava and bounced me just off the green. My third shot, which would have been an eagle if I got it, was a pitch that just barely missed, landing a foot away, but that's a birdie tap-in for me, and the front 9 is in the bag. Hole 10 is a mean dogleg that's thankfully no problem thanks to King Bob-omb's amazing distance, and in 2 shots, I managed to get to just under 7 feet from the hole with an easy straight putt to secure another birdie. Now, I practiced this course quite a few times, and in hindsight, I should have figured out a strategy for hole 11. It's a long par 3 with an archway that blocks a direct drive to the green. So I, in my infinite wisdom, decided to slam the ball and hope that it had curved down before it hit the wall. It wasn't even close. And I guess I didn't learn my lesson because shot 2 also went way long, past the green in fact. So with a third shot to get onto the green and then a 6-foot putt, I secured my first bogey of the match. Not a great feeling, and this hole was my first major mistake, but it's early yet. Hole 12's first shot got on the inside curve, which wasn't great considering the wind direction, and my second shot landed 30 feet away with a curvy valley in between. My first putt went way out to the left, but I thankfully converted the next putt for par. Hole 13 is another straight shot, but into the wind this time, and this being a long par 4, the fact that my drive landed short really sucked. I got to the green in 2 shots, but landed 47 feet off, and didn't curve my putt enough to get the birdie, so it was a par. More long bombing on hole 14, but from the second shot onward, I was hitting downwind, which was nice. I had yet another birdie putt chance on shot 4, but I put a bit too much mustard on it, so I rode the rim and unfortunately got all the way to just past the fringe. Ugh. It took me another 2 shots to get into the hole for my second bogey, and this one felt pretty bad. And it didn't start much better on hole 15, since my first shot landed on a slope in the rough. Thankfully, it had enough distance to hit the green, but still stopped 37 feet away after an admittedly nice roll. I figured I'd miss the birdie putt, and I did, and my par putt looked like it would also miss, but it rolled in thanks to a last-minute brake push. Hole 16 begins with 2 straight shots to the green. The first was nice, and the second landed short. My third landed nicely, but rolled way too much, getting me 19 feet away from the hole, but yet again I had the right angle and power to barely sink the par putt. Hole 17 is a simple par 3, but I misjudged the distance I'd get with the wind and landed nearly 60 feet off. No surprise that I missed the long putt on shot 2, but I thankfully closed the distance and nailed the par. The last hole has all the elements of Bowser Highlands: long distance, hazards, and that damn arch again. My tee shot landed on a slope, but I recovered well on the second shot, and the third took it to a solid 16-foot position on the green. With not too much slope to contend with, I converted the birdie to end the first course with a score of 4 under. I'm pretty happy with this Bowser Highlands run overall. The front 9 was damn good, barring a few missed reads, and while holes 11 and 14 were big sticking points, I think I did alright on the back 9 as well. If the other 3 courses go like this, then this Masters win is as good as mine. On to the next round. Blustery Basin is one of the courses that doesn't have set fairways for each hole, and is instead more or less a circle with patches of rough and obstacles everywhere. So while it's more flexible as far as lines, it's also more annoying regarding things that can stop your ball. As an example, on my initial shot of hole 1, I tried to get around this tree, but ended up soaring through the top branches to land it just on the rough. Then a second shot into the bunker close to the green, and a really nice chip shot to get less than 4 feet away, and a final shot for par. Hole 2 also started off rough as I landed right in the bushes on the first 2 shots. Then a severely misjudged recovery shot that sailed maybe a few inches, and 2 more shots to get a bogey on the par 4. This was straight up terrible. On hole 3, I thought my shot would avoid the Taifu's wind range, but apparently not, so into the bunker. With a solid second shot and a good putt, that was another par. Hole 4 is a medium-length par 5, so a good chance to redeem myself. The drive was great, but my second shot hit the branches and landed short in the rough. But my third shot landed just 3 feet away, and that gave me the ideal spot to convert the birdie. My tee-off on hole 5 also hit a branch, but thankfully it just grazed the edge and hooked back onto the rough. And with a solid second shot, I had a birdie opportunity which I was so close to hitting, but another rim ride meant I had to settle for par. Hole 6 began with another drive into a tree, although it landed alright, but I didn't hit nearly hard enough to get to the green, and my overconfident super backspin on a downslope away from the hole was my punishment. 2 more shots then to get a par. Hole 7 teed off with the wind, which was great, but it didn't curve as much as I'd hoped and it stopped on a deep slope. I didn't even bother going for the green with shot 2, instead taking that and shot 3 to get about 30 feet away. And I missed the par putt thanks to a lack of power, so that's another bogey and I'm up 1 over par. I drove a little far on hole 8 and my long putt game proved pretty poor as I missed to the left, but I got the par on this one without much trouble. My drive off the tee on hole 9 was solid, but I guess I'm just a magnet for trees since I drove it straight through the branches again to land just off the fairway. Still, my shot to the green stopped 12 feet away, and my birdie putt was perfect, so I'm back down to even as the front 9 comes to an end. I paused the game here and stepped aside for a bit to recover my wits, and I'm super glad I did. Hole 10 had 2 good shots to get to the green, and a great putt netted me the birdie. I initially thought hole 11 didn't start great with a too long drive that hit the far fringe, but it actually landed me in a super straight putting angle, so with a long bomb up the middle, I got another birdie. On hole 12, I got some great yardage out of the drive, but landed behind a tree, forcing me to go around. My second shot was bad since I didn't curve it nearly enough, leaving me 18 yards off the green on a sloped rough. I would have been happy with a chip that got close to the hole, but wouldn't you know it, I got the bullseye for a birdie. Now that felt sweet. While hole 13 is only 420 yards, it's a par 5, meaning I could easily get to the green in 2 shots with the right luck. But while my drive was nice and long, the second downslope shot sent me into the sand. With a good bunker recovery and a successful putt though, that's another birdie in the bag. Hole 14 is pretty straight, and with 2 shots, I got to the far green about 32 feet away. And the long putt thankfully hit the hole. I was worried for a second, so that's the 5th birdie in a row. I was shooting against the wind on hole 15, but thankfully my tee-off was excellent. I didn't capitalize though, since the wind and a backspin landed me off the green on shot 2. Then I whacked the ball into the flag on shot 3, which sent it more or less right back to where I hit it from. And after missing a putt off the fringe, I had to go for the bogey instead. I guess my luck was bound to run out. My opening shot on hole 16 radically missed thanks to the severe wind, but a really nice recovery shot and an easy putt got me par at least. Hole 17 started with a decent drive and a bad second shot that landed in the bunker, but I had a hell of a nice third shot that got me 3 feet away, so that was an easy par putt. And with hole 18, I got to the green in 2 shots for an eagle putt opportunity, which, not to mince words, I failed miserably. And I also missed the birdie shot with another bull skater, so I had to go for a par instead to end with a score of 4 under par. While Blustery Basin was initially a big hurdle, I'm glad I was able to rally in the latter half, especially with that 5 birdie string. But I knew I couldn't rest on my laurels just from that. That precision shot on hole 12 was awesome and all, but the next 2 courses can be pretty difficult depending on wind patterns and my golfing ability, so that could be where the rubber hits the road. Hey, real quick before we move on to the 3rd round, I just want to remind you in case you missed the last video, but I recently opened channel memberships and super thanks up if you want to support this channel directly. If you enjoy the stuff I make and want to help me make them even better, and more frequently, just click the join button or thanks button below the video to learn more. Anyway, back to the show. Next up is Spiky Palms, another snowflake-esque course, and one that gave me a lot of trouble while I was practicing, so this one really could go either way. On hole 1, my drive was pretty good, but shot 2 landed short. But with a pretty close chip onto the green that stopped just 6 feet away, it was an easy par. Hole 2 is a standard par 3 course, and while my tee-off sliced far right, it wasn't that bad of a landing. Not enough power on the second shot though, so I had to launch for par. There's a fairly short par 5 for hole 3, and my drive went far but stopped on a slope. But despite the angle, the wind, and even touching the branches, I actually made it to the green 38 feet away from the hole. Not bad for 2 shots. The putt was pretty tricky with a tight curve going uphill, but look at that, I sunk the eagle shot. Hell yeah. Hole 4 is the first one where landing in the water is a distinct possibility, and my first shot narrowly avoided taking a dip even after catching the tornado. My aim to the hole on shot 2 was good, but the arc was low, so even with the backspin, I still landed 13 feet out, and I once again slid off the rim on the birdie putt. So that's another par. My drive on hole 5 landed on the bridge, thankfully not up against the wall, and because I never learn anything, I backspinned hard on a shot that wouldn't make the green and it rolled into the bunker. It took me 2 shots to recover to this one, which led to another par putt. Hole 6 is scary since you're driving right to the water line, and I landed just short of the river in an alright position. My second shot was solid, landing me about 17 feet away, and with a pretty spot-on putt, that's a birdie for the books. Thanks to the wind, my first shot on hole 7 went pretty far, and I took 2 more shots to get in this one, netting me par on a fairly difficult short hole. On hole 8, I was lucky to shoot into the wind, which helped my drive get some good air, but I gave it too much juice on the second shot to land nearly 80 feet away on the fringe. My power for the putt was good, but my aim was off, and it stopped just on the rough. and on shot 4, it nearly bounced right into the hole, but instead soared over. After sinking on shot 5, that hole was a bogey. Hole 9 started terribly since I hit the edge of a tree's hitbox, which sent my ball plummeting into the drink. Even the tornado couldn't help it. Taking the penalty stroke, I cleared the water with shot 3, though not with much room to spare, but wow, my 4th shot got screwed by the angle and turned basically 180 degrees around. I had to settle for a 6-shot bogey on this one, probably my worst performance on a hole yet. I redeemed my drive skills on hole 10 with a nice straight shot, and hey, my 2nd shot even made it to the green. With a perfect putt on the 3rd stroke, I got me another birdie. I thought my tee shot on hole 11 was heading to the bunker, but the wind got it to the green just fine, and just 8 feet away to boot. That lined me up for an easy birdie putt. Hole 12 started with a drive to the center island, narrowly missing the pokey, and then a long shot onto a raised green, which landed short and bounced back. No big deal since my 3rd shot hit the green and stopped 4 feet off, with a nice putt to get another birdie. Hole 13 has a similar layout to hole 6, but I elected to shoot to the center island this time, and it got some great yardage and kept off the sand. While my 2nd shot had plenty of power for the green, it landed to the left onto the rough, and then I shot way too far to get onto the green. Still, my putt granted me a par, so it worked out. On hole 14, I shot over the water and ended up on another teeing area, and then do you know what I did next on the shot to the green? That's right, hit short and backspin. However annoyed you are about that, trust me, I'm even angrier. Still, with 2 more shots to match par, at least I managed to stay even with my score. Hole 15 drove me downwind again, although not as much as I would have liked since it took me 3 shots to hit the green thanks to another short lob on shot 2. I very nearly had the 9-foot putt, but it halted less than a foot away. Ugh, that's a tap-in bogey for me. Hole 16 had a great drive that landed about 11 feet away, but once again it just didn't have enough power and landed half a foot shy. So that's a stinky par for me. Hole 17 should have been easy enough, but thanks to another top branch touch, I landed in the penalty zone. It was inevitable that I'd hit the tree again on my next shot, so I had to get to the green in 4 strokes on a par 4. The putt was from 14 feet off, and I didn't angle far enough to the right, so it curved way out. Tapping into the hole in 6 shots, I marked down the first double bogey. Obviously a terrible display, but to be fair, McIlroy hit 4 double bogeys during the Masters this year, so really, I'm doing alright in that regard. Hole 18's start is evil, forcing you to drive super short or go towards the left away from the green. I went for the former, but the tree branches sucked my ball toward the perfect angle to fly between these 2 trunks for a 123-yard shot. That was lucky. I drove again on shot 2 to get 100 yards away, and I learned my lesson about backspinning to the green from a far shot, hitting the green about 23 feet away. And I missed the putt. Not enough power, but I tapped it in for the par with an overall score of 1 under par. This was a very mixed course for me. While it had a great eagle and a handful of birdies, it also had way too many awful shots that netted me some bad pars and bogeys. Like I said, this could have gone either way. In order to beat McIlroy, I have to get 4 under par on the next course. But it's the toughest one yet, so it's gonna be tight. This challenge ends on a very unorthodox course with holes in the shape of Mario characters, meaning the fairway and green design is far different. Not to mention the long holes with the championship tees and just how much open space there is to fall into. Hole 1 sets the stage with a long par 4, and while the drive onto Mario's overalls is easy enough, getting to the green in 2 shots while landing in a good position can be tricky. I landed 58 feet away with a major half-pipe slope down. It took me 2 putts to sink this one, so that's a par to start. I had to get nearly 700 yards on hole 2, and to make matters worse, I was shooting into the wind. 2 shots got me 158 yards away from the hole, but on shot 3, I landed in the bunker in the Luma's Eye. My bunker shot clipped the edge of the rough to land 26 feet away, and with a nice straight putt, that's par number 2. Hole 3 is a par 3 from a high position onto a round green, which means a high lob and a backspin. And I only did 1 of these because I'm dumb. My topspin got me off the green and it took me 2 shots to recover. 3 up, 3 down, 3 pars. Hole 4 up Yoshi's side is pretty straightforward, and I had a solid drive to start. But on shot 2, while my aim was good, the wind really carried my ball to land 87 feet off the hole. That's a hell of a long putt, and while it missed, I still made a good effort that landed 6 feet away. So that's yet another par. With hole 5, my drive missed the bunker, and I landed a great second shot to the green that stopped 7 feet off. And with a good putt, that's the first birdie of the course. My drive on hole 6 didn't land as far as I would have wanted, about 42 feet away, but I sunk the long putt thanks to its relatively even green. So hey, another birdie. On hole 7, King Bob-omb has the strength to shoot far out the rock path on Koopa Troopa's arm, which can get you farther than the first fairway with some good bouncing. I went for it, but it landed too far left and I bounced into the bunker. On the next shot, I shot it very high and it bounced into the next bunker up. Dang. Stroke 3 bounced off the rock and rolled onto the rough, so I had to take the par shot to just get to the green, ending up 20 feet away. Easy putt for bogey, but still. There isn't that much fairway from the tee off on hole 8, and while my initial shot was alright, it landed a bit far left and rolled into the sand. I had to clear the gap from the mushroom to peach, which is impossible out of the bunker with a wedge. So upgrading to a 9-iron, I launched from one bunker to another, which I'm actually happy with doing since at least then, it soared over the scary part. I didn't mind taking 2 more shots on this one for par, especially since my approach shot was beautiful. Another long drive on hole 9, and while 2 driver shots would get you to the fairway on Peach's shoulder, I hit some bricks that slowed me down and landed me in the bunker. 2 more shots to get the green, and I hit the pin and landed less than 3 feet away, so after a tap-in, that was a solid par. The front 9 is done with a score of 1 under, which is alright, but not nearly what I need to even match McIlroy, let alone beat him. Hole 10 starts with an easy drive onto Mario's overalls, and then a thin green that is very close to a drop-off, requiring me to be careful with my approach shot. Due to my caution, I landed 65 feet away from the hole, but I nailed the long bomb putt to clinch the birdie. Hole 11 is a long par 3, and while I was shooting somewhat downwind, I couldn't quite reach the green. But with a good second shot leading to an easy putt, I got the par at least. We have a familiar case with hole 12, where the first shot is a long drive, and then there's a narrow green that you approach from a perpendicular angle. Again, I was cautious and ended up 32 feet away, and the putt shot was difficult, but I managed to sink the birdie. The wind was not cooperative on hole 13, but my first shot was okay, although my second landed pretty close to the edge of the stone, so I had to chip over it. Which I did on stroke 3, although it went right into the bunker. A very good but not close enough shot to the hole later, then a tap-in for par, and that hole's done. Hole 14 starts with a long drive and then a shot over the bunkers, and I stopped on the green in 2 strokes, albeit farther than I would have liked. I missed the birdie putt thanks to a bad curve, but I converted it to par. Launching over the gap on hole 15 is easy enough with a powerful drive, but my tee-off landed in a bunker after another bad stone bounce. But I rocketed it out of the bunker to get the ball onto the green, and 2 to line up a nice putt, which I unfortunately flubbed with another misjudged angle. Well, that's another par then. Even though hole 16 is a par 3, you gotta drive this one ridiculously far with championship tees, and on this run, I was shooting into the wind, which is why my drive stopped in the rough. My approach shot set me up for an easy putt, and that's a par. Hole 17 on this course is the reason why I picked King Bob-omb, because his drive reach is enough to clear the gap from the championship tee, but only if you hit with full power. Even then, it's tricky, but at 3 under par for this course, I needed to take the risk and try and get a birdie. And I just narrowly clinched the shot. It was scary seeing it bounce into the air, but it landed on the right side. My next shot to the green was great, but regrettably, I rode the rim once again on the birdie shot, so I had to go for par. So here we are, hole 18 on the last course, and I'm tied with McIlroy. This is a par 5 up Bowser and his clown car, and I have to get a birdie or better here or it's all over. I was tense as hell, let me tell you, because of course it'd all come down to the final stretch. In fact, let's do the classic YouTuber thing and put on more intense music. Perfect. Shot 1. You're directed toward the green on the right side, but I'm gonna go through the middle since there's lots of rock to bounce off of. With some help from the wind, I shot for 261 yards, albeit into the bunker. Shot 2. A 5-iron out of the bunker to get further up. Sadly, it clipped the corner here and landed in another bunker 73 yards from the green. Shot 3, a fairly straight pitch shot that slid by the hole and rolled far, about 28 feet away. Shot 4, the putt for birdie.
Nice birdie.
With a final course score of 4 under par and a total score of 13 under, King Bob-omb and I beat Rory McIlroy's Masters score by just 1 point. This was super intense, and that finale had me on the edge of my damn seat. Granted, it was likely a fraction of what McIlroy felt on that playoff against Justin Rose, but still, I genuinely had to come down from the emotions that flooded in on that last birdie. Unless you think that I deliberately threw some of these holes to make that conclusion more exciting, well, first of all, thank you for the vote of confidence in my ability to plan out something like that, but no, every mistake here was genuine. So that's 1 Mario Golf Grand Slam event down, 3 to go. The next event is the PGA Championship, which takes place on May 18th, and sometime after that, I'll be taking on another Mario Golf game to try and beat the winner of that one as well. In the meantime, if you like this video and want to see me play more Mario Golf or see all the other stuff I'm doing, make sure to click that subscribe button and leave a like and a comment while you're down there. And let me know what your favorite Mario Golf games are. Are you a Toadstool Tour person? Maybe an N64 original booster? Make your voice be heard. I'm GrayJ, and I'll see you some other time with more silly things.